My name is Jerry. They also call me the Snake Man. We're trying to start a mini-series of video clips about each of the different species of snakes that we have and that we keep. And we are going to try to put one on every week for you. We're going to start off with what we consider the amazing Amazon tree boas, which is what it says on my shirt here. We call them amazing Amazon tree boas because they're unique in the fact that they come in a lot of variety of colors and different patterns, and none of them are morphs. They're normally this color and this pattern. You won't find them in the wild this way. They're not something that's bred specifically to look like this. These are aggressive tree snakes normally, and the first one we're going to take out is our garden phase. As you can see, we'll pick him up here. They're usually very quick. They want to try to strike at me. And normally snakes will try to strike at your face because when they bite a prey on the face, that prey can't bite back at them. So that's usually what they'll focus on. Boas are unique in the fact that they do give live birth. So this type of tree boa can spend its entire life in the trees, never touching the ground. He has heat sensors around the upper part of his lips, which means he can detect his prey by the temperature of their body. If they're warmer than the air, he can seek them out just by their body temperature. He has good eyesight, so he can focus in very easily. As you see, he's focusing in on my warm hands, is what he's picking up, my body temperature. He's coiled back, that's a pre-strike position. And when he thinks he's close enough, he'll actually strike out and try to bite at me. Now, he has his tongue flicking out a lot right now because they do use their forked tongues in order to sense the air and what is in front of him. So he's trying to determine that if I'm food or if I'm something that's aggressive that he wants to try to bite. They're not a venomous snake, they are a constrictor, so they wrap around their prey and they squeeze until the prey stops breathing. But they do have very long front canine teeth because they eat things like birds, which they need larger teeth to penetrate the feathers. They'll eat birds, lizards, and if they want to eat mice and rats, they'll do so. They will coil their tail around a branch. On the lower branch, they will wait for the prey to come by, and they will strike down, and they will grab that prey off the ground and coil it up, and they will eat it into the air. Now, this is called a garden phase Amazon tree boa, and its garden phases are normally gray or an olive color, but that's not where they get the name garden from. They get the name garden because the top of the head, there's patterns, and those patterns to some people look like a flower bed, a garden bed, and that's how they got their name garden phase tree boas. The other tree boas we're going to show you are called colored tree boas, and they get their name obviously because they have different colors. Today we have orange and yellow, and we have a baby, and we have a whitish yellow one with us too as well. Now it will take me a second to get him off of the stick because he has himself so wrapped up around the stick, as you can see here, that it's going to be very hard to get him off the stick. So what I do is snakes are distracted very easily. So as I distract him with one hand, I'm going to sneak up on with the other hand, and I will grab him behind his head, restrain him so this way he can't bite me, and I will pull him off of the stick. Normally I have my wife help me, but she's not here right now, so I'm going to have to try to do this all by myself, and hopefully I won't get bit in the process. It's been a long time since I've been bit, but if I come from behind the snake, he doesn't realize I'm there because he's more focused on my face, as you can see, and then I will simply unravel him from the stick. Now the other thing they'll do too, if they can't bite you, they do like to go to the bathroom on you, which is one thing that we usually get people to put a snake down very quick, is the odor. They have a musk gland in their tail, and they do use this to keep predators away from them. And I'll be back in 1 second with the next snake here. Now the next snake I got here would be considered an orange colored Amazon tree boa. And this guy is a little bit smaller in size. But tree snakes are generally not snakes that are large bodied. They're usually very skinny bodies so that they can move very quickly and lightly through the branches. As you can see, he took a strike at me there. This is one of my little aggressive buddies. Okay. Now this snake is also unique in the way that he perches himself when he's up into the trees. He's taking a little strike at me. He really wants to bite me, but I'm not going to let him today. When he's up in the trees, though, these snakes, when they perch, they don't coil over just one branch like you'll see the emerald tree boas or the green tree pythons do. These snakes actually like to have a little perch in the air. They like to perch themselves in the crotch of trees or where there's tree branches that cross, so they have more like a platform that's up in the air that they can lay on. And again, this guy here, as aggressive as he is, he's still focusing on me, on my face. He's not paying really much attention to the fact that, again, I'm going to sneak up behind him here, and I'm actually going to allow him to pull himself right back into my hands. He's more worried about biting me in the face than he was the fact that I was right behind him getting him. And our next aggressive one is a nice color phase. I find it a little unique. I don't see a lot of guys like this around. And he also is one that does like to try to bite me quite often. This guy was a lot whitish in coloration when I first got him. Now he's turning a little more yellowish. He's a very beautiful Amazon tree boa. And that's the other thing about them, is it seems like every time they shed, they tend to get a different color or a little more, a little less patterns on them. So they're just so amazing of a snake. Now, a lot of people do like snakes that are aggressive, and if you do, this is definitely a snake to get. If you like snakes that you just like to look at and watch them in an aquarium or in a vivarium, these are also one of the snakes to get because they are beautiful snakes. You fill it up with a bunch of branches. These snakes basically are not going to get any longer than about 6.5 feet. Most of the ones that I have are probably around 5 feet. And even at 5 feet, because they are tree snakes and they are very slender, it really doesn't appear that they are very long snakes. They don't take up much space. Again, as you can see, we're going to use the same technique on this guy. We're going to sneak up from behind him, and when we get right by his head, we're simply going to restrain him a little harder so that he cannot get loose and bite us. And now we simply, and I don't know if the word simply is the right word to use here, but we get him unwound from the stick, put him back in the container here, and we're on to our fourth Amazon tree boa. Now, not all the Amazon tree boas are aggressive snakes. This one here I got when it was very young. This is a yellow-colored Amazon tree boa. And again, a very beautiful snake, but this one is very docile. This one I don't need to use the stick for. He's never tried to bite me. He's a very beautiful snake. This is yellow with almost no patterns, at least when I got him. Now, if you look very closely, you can see that he's becoming speckled with some dots on him. I love these guys, and the fact is that they're just so awesome. They're so curious, and they're so beautiful. They got the nice, beautiful eyes. They're very curious snakes. You can see the tongue's flicking out constantly. They're moving around. I love the way they can hold their bodies out like they're doing right here. He can stretch way out and still hold his body up. Constricting snakes have a lot of muscles connected to their ribs, which gives him this very strong ability to hold himself straight out, looking like a branch. If he hangs out like this, maybe a bird or a lizard might come near him, and as you can see, he's coiled up. He could just strike right down. They all have the prehensile tails, and that means that they will wrap their tails around something, and they can support their whole body weight. We'll get him up here. And it's hard to see him do it here, but here we go. And he can support his whole body weight just by hanging from his tail. The other thing, their prehensile tails are like your monkeys, but these guys are really cool in this way. Now, he feels very secure the fact that he is supporting himself. If I were to unravel him, I would cause him to feel less secure, and at which point he might try to strike out and bite at me. And then the very last Amazon we got today is one that I myself am very proud of. It's an Amazon tree boa that I bred, and this is one of the babies. This is the second clutch of babies I had. These guys are so awesome. Now, this was called originally, he has a nickname, and the nicknames when he was born was a Halloween phase Amazon tree boa, which is appropriate for this time of the year. And that's because they have the orange markings on them, and these orange markings will not stay there though. So they're called Halloween phase, so if you buy one because of that color, you're going to be very disappointed because that orange will fade off of them with each and every shed that they have. Now, this was one of my babies, and as you can see, I've held him ever since that he was born, and he is very, very docile. They eat pinky mice or hoppers. They are very cute and gorgeous little guys. And I can't think of any better snake to start out with. If you want a nice snake that's really cool looking, is to get yourself a captive bred Amazon tree boa that's been held. These guys are so cool and unique. And nobody really, you don't have a large collection of these people keeping these, so it's something that's, you're not going to see a lot of them, and they're unique in the fact is that you're going to be one of the few people that have them. We thank you for watching this, and hopefully next week we're going to create another video clip with different species of snakes. I'm not sure which is going to be yet, but stay tuned and find out. Have a good day.